Well, I have when we announced that we were going to take questions for you, we got a number of healthcare questions coming up, and it really shouldn't come as a surprise to us because we had done a number of surveys actually for weeks and weeks, just sort of asking people where they were after this election. What are the big issues that we should get involved with? And the number one answer was healthcare, but we had people do second choice and third choice. So this is interesting. So for the people who did not choose healthcare as the number one answer, and we gave them all kinds of choices and allowed them to opt in any other sort of issues. So the people who did not pick healthcare as their number one issue, the people who picked something else as their number one issue, the top issue that they picked as their second issue was healthcare. Same thing with third place. So first, second, and third place essentially were all healthcare. If you didn't pick healthcare as first place, generally you picked healthcare as second place. So when we asked for questions, we had I'm looking at about 300 questions that we saw online here on through Daily Kos and other blogs, and then a number of other questions that were emailed in, which I mean many more that I can't get to all of. But there are some other questions as well, so I want to make sure to do a couple of those, and a lot of them are just this kind of stuff that you're well known for, organizing and making sure that we're in all 50 states and this kind of thing. Well, one of the questions I have here that I want to ask is how can we get more progressives in Congress? This is from LG Cap at Daily Kos.
Well, I have to say that I think the DFA has done a fantastic job. You and Jim named some of them when you first started out, and those are some of the most articulate, terrific people in Congress who really lead the Congress forward. So I think you've done a great job. I think you just got to keep finding folks, great candidates in districts where you think they might not be able to win, but it's worth a try. And lo and behold, people like Jerry McInerney and Donna Edwards do win in districts like that, and there are many, many others. So I just say keep doing what you're doing. Don't ever believe that you can't win, because you can if you knock on enough doors in just about any district in the state. I think people like Mark Begich proved that when they got elected to the Senate in Alaska.
Yeah, definitely. Mark Begich was a huge victory for us, and another one where people weren't listening for a while, and then people started paying attention only sort of toward the end. But we give them support, of course, from the beginning. Another sort of related question, and this could be on healthcare or anything else, about working with other groups. How do we get other groups to sort of join on? Maybe it's working with healthcare, or maybe it's at the very local level. What can we do? How can we reach out? Who can we reach out to? And what should we be doing with other?
Well, there are a lot of other groups, and many of them. The healthcare groups that of all kinds who really want to work for reform. There's a great newsletter that goes out called the Herndon Group. The Center for American Progress has been very active. SEIU, AFSCME. I mean, there's all across the spectrum from the center to the left are folks who will really want reform. I think one of the things that looks like it's happening is that people are understanding that if you don't do the public entity and the public option, that you don't really have health care reform, and that's important because the forces on the the insurance companies and the Republicans are really looking to fight that option to a standstill, and if that's their way of killing health care reform, because they know that if you don't have that, it's not real reform. And I do think that we're going to have to make alliances with other groups, but again, there's a lot of them out there, and I think we're working hard with them to try to all present a united front.
Great. And I'll encourage the folks on the call too. It's not just about Governor Dean reaching out to the folks at the top of the unions or the top of the groups like Center for American Progress. There are local groups and local coalitions in each and every one of your states. I know that when we did trainings, one of the things we do is we don't just reach out to the local party. In fact, sometimes local party would just as rather that we sort of stayed out. But we reach out to all kinds of folks, and often it might be our friends in labor. It might be the local peace and justice groups in the area. But I think we find a lot more power when we work together. So if it's an issue that we all have in common, let's say healthcare, since we're talking about it so much, then I would encourage all the folks on the call, whether you're at a big party or whether you're at home, to go and think about the people that you know who are active in all these other groups and see if they will come together to stand with Dr. Dean on healthcare. So I'm going to just put that website out there one more time, actually probably many more times, but it's www.standwithdrdean.com, and that's spelled out stand with the DR for doctor, Dean.com. Now we made sure that other variations of that name will go to the same website. But it's enormously important that it's not just about the people on the call. I'll tell you that there are not 250,000 people on the call. I mean, probably not. There are, there's thousands of us, but we have to actually reach out. We reach out to our friends. We reach out to people in other groups. And I'll also put out there that, don't just think about your liberal friend who lives across, the country, which is great. That's wonderful. You should get them involved too. But think about your neighbors, because ultimately this is going to be the kind of thing where we need to talk to our neighbors. If they're supporters, then you want them with you, and we want to make sure that they go to the website, standwithdrdean.com. But we want to start organizing locally so that we can talk to our neighbors and we can talk to our friends. And that's really how our members of Congress are going to listen to us, when they see neighborhoods, not just one or another person, but neighborhoods, come up to them and say, this is just not sustainable the way that we do healthcare anymore. Well, I'm going to maybe end a little bit talking a little bit about the campaign, but Governor, do you have any other sort of final words for us?
Yeah, it's great to be back. Thank you all for all the fantastic work you've done since I was last with you. It was about 4.5 years ago. I'm really looking forward to this. Arshad and Jim, thanks so much for letting me come back, and I'm really looking forward to working closely with you guys. You've done a fantastic job, and you've really, all of you, all the zillions of people on this call, you've really changed the country. Thanks for all the support you gave me when I was running for DNC chair. Thanks for all the support you gave me when I was a DNC chair. You've really changed the country, and you've changed the way we do politics, and it's an extraordinary thing. You really do have the power.